I want to be able to take the time, feel the feelings. Even this last ultra marathon. I mean, it was incredibly disappointing. I spent thousands of dollars to go over to New Zealand. I trained for months to do this thing. I got hit with a flu bug the day before the race. There's nothing I can do about that. I'd be lying if I told you it wasn't disappointing. Um, but just allowing myself to feel that disappointment without beating myself up. So that's the acceptance part, right? You feel stuff, and that's okay. And I think sometimes we get into this spiral of, you know what, I shouldn't feel disappointed. I ran almost 50 miles. Like, that's a long way. I should be very proud of that. And of course I am. But I'm also disappointed. I trained to run 100 miles. I wasn't able to do that. It's disappointing. And that's okay. So feel that disappointment. Lean into that. Let it come out, however that comes out. Um, for me, it's sharing with my partner, Michelle, um, and just being able to, I said something to her that she sort of was taken aback, and I said, I'm enjoying the disappointment.
Hmm.
Um, and for me, the more, and when Colleen was killed, this was never more true. I mean, there was an opportunity to feel deeply. Um, a friend of mine sent me a letter by a fellow by the name of Ram Dass. He's an American spiritual leader. I think he just recently passed, actually. Um, he wrote a letter to Rachel, which was a young girl who was brutally murdered. And he wrote a letter to her parents. And in that letter, there were sort of three key pieces for me. In that letter, he said, who among us is strong enough to remain conscious through such teachings as you are receiving? Probably very few. And when I read that, I just thought, you know what? It would be easy for me to bury my head in the sand, climb into a bottle, pop some pills, become, even the running can become obsessive if you let it. But I made a very conscious decision that I was going to remain fully present and aware through that sadness, through that pain. The second thing he talked about is our rational minds will never understand, but our hearts, if we keep them open, will find their own intuitive way. And, I can't tell you how many times I went through that why her? She was a beautiful human being, nothing but kindness, nothing but love. Why? And understanding that there is no rational answer to that question. And then the third piece for me was, now is the time to let your grief find expression, no false strength. And again, just allowing myself to feel that depth of sadness and pain, and not avoid it, not bury it, not suppress it. Um, there were times I'd curl up into a little ball on the floor and I'd just bawl my eyes out. Um, but I'd allow that to happen. I'd revel in it. I'd allow the feelings to come. And so now I look for any experience, whether, again, it's pride of your kids doing something well, being able to feel that deeply and just take a moment to sit with that, whether it's the disappointment of coming up short in a 100 miler, being able to actually feel that and sit with that. I mean, what a gift. And as a result, the richness of experience that I get to live life is incredible, Ryan. Like, it's just incredible. I was at a concert the other day with a friend of mine, two talented husband and wife team, just incredibly talented musicians, and they poured their heart out on stage. But just allowing myself to feel that concert, and some of their stuff is pretty heavy. He was sexually abused as a child, so he talks a little bit about that, and some of his songs are about that. It's very, very powerful. But again, just being able to experience that to that level of depth, is something that I couldn't have done 10 years ago.